नमस्कार दोस्तों। 4 अक्टूबर 2024 आज हम द हिंदू से मेनली आर्टिकल डिस्कस करेंगे। पहला आर्टिकल यहाँ पे, वेदर इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया वेदर दे आर रिक्वायर्ड टू मेंटेन इंटरनल डेमोक्रेसी विद इन द पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज। व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय डेमोक्रेसी? फर्स्ट, democracy, government for the people, by the people, to the people. Basically government should work for the people. That is called democracy. But whether political parties who are coming into power, whether they are following any democracy within their political internal wing, most of the time we cannot see any internal democracy. Suppose say in parliament area also there will be a whip. Basically he is a floor leader who controls the actions of the party member. That means he is unilaterally altering decisions of the member. Even he is denying their right to speech or right to freedom. That is basically dissent in the democratic process. So that is not a democracy, that is autocracy basically. So now today a debate has been carried out, or a discussion has been carried out between two eminent personalities. One person, M.R. Madhavan. So far in this article while we discuss, we'll call him as MRM. He is a co-founder and president of PRS Legislative Research. They do research on legislative assemblies. They publish important area, and then they publish a lot of, based on the data they conduct a lot of research, and then they help in ensuring democratic process in good manner. OP Rawat, we all are aware, so henceforth we will call him as OPR. Basically he is a former chief election commissioner. Discussion has been carried out between them, so we'll discuss this article in detail. India, as you are aware, multi-party democracy in central government. Most of the time you might have heard of Bharatiya Janata Party, Congress Party, and then from south we have so many regional parties are there: Shiv Sena, Telugu Desam Party, DMK, AIDMK, even communist parties. There are national parties are there, internal parties are there. Most of the time we don't see any internal democracy within them. These parties will be continued by their single charisma. Suppose say Bharatiya Janata Party, every time Prime Minister Narendra Modi's charisma will be utilized by the party in order to win the elections. If you see the Congress utilizes their four co-founders. Basically not the co-founders, those who have initially ruled, basically Nehru family. Those who comes from outside, they will be casted out. Suppose say Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi, they have been pivotal pillar. Most of the time their policies have been discussed, but when it comes to Manmohan Singh, even PV Narasimha Rao, though their images cannot be discussed. Basically it is a party image based political parties. Not only these, even if you go to Shiv Sena, even Telugu Desam Party, senior NTR, their images have been discussed. So that is dissent in the democratic process. So author basically ask about whether Election Commission of India can ensure internal democracy within. So basically there is a discussion between OP Rawat and MR Madhavan. First question author ask about whether we need to push political parties to ensure internal democracy. If we are pushing, so how they can do it? OP Rawat, former chief election commissioner of India, he says, Election Commission of India, you see, this is a registering authority for the political parties in your country. If you are starting any political party, you need to register with Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India also monitors whether these political parties are functioning according to constitutional values and constitutional amendments, even bylaws, acts, etc. During the process, they also monitors whether elections to office bearers, basically Prime Minister, Chief Minister, and President and Vice President, whether they are taking place regularly. But there is one important issue in this thing. In 2002, Supreme Court said Election Commission of India should not go into political process. Their role is to conduct election. They should not get involved into political processes. Even Election Commission of India do not have a power to deregister political party. Political parties can register with Election Commission of India, but Election Commission of India as such they do not have deregistration power. So they can deregister if registration something happened because of the fraud or other things, but they cannot deregister political party just because they are not following internal democracy. Otherwise, election commission of India has to work within the limits of the constitution and bylaws. Mr. Madhavan comes and he says he has a different view apart from what OP Rawat has mentioned. Election commission of India, its core mandate, according to constitution, what it should be, basically their mandate is to conduct elections to parliament, state legislature, basically the posts of president and vice president of India. They have to maintain electoral rolls under article 103. They should advise disqualification of MPs. There is also the same process can be carried out in the state legislature also, basically carrying electoral rolls in the state legislative assemblies, and even disqualification of MPs even under anti defection laws. Basically these anti defection law, they are decided by speaker, not by election commission of India. Basically there the limited mandate is there. Several times we have discussed about anti defection law. The role should go to election commission of India as a reform. Those who will be disqualified, this will be decided by speaker or chairman of the particular house. So basically these people belongs to ruling party, and then they cannot decide particularly. But the question is, are they carrying out mandate well or not? So in any institution, first they should do their core job, then they should move on to another things. Then author says, Madhavan says, election commission of India, they have deteriorated its core job and they are not even doing that core job. So before going any institution to give an extra mandate, Madhavan says election commission of India has to do their core job first. So they are not competent enough, not doing their job particularly, so they should not be handed another activity. And then author asks another question: what would be your views whether election commission of India should have power to deregister political parties? OP Rawat comes, see, election commission of India works with mandated efficiency. Whatever task it has been given, it performs with efficiency. Only thing, when it comes to deregistration of political party, there are many different directions and dimensions. Elections, they are challenged only by election petitions according to constitution. You can challenge in the courts itself, you cannot go anywhere, and court decide whether elections are happened correctly or not. So even election commission of India has been monitoring this. Even if any disputes have been found, they resolve immediately then and there. So if you compare democracy with most developed country as well, when elections has been come, there will be a huge ruckus in the legislature, because if election goes out of one candidate, for example, there was election in 2019 for the president post in United States of America. During that time, former president Donald Trump won, but Hillary Clinton lost, basically. So during that time, there was a lot of ruckus in the legislature. So these things could happen. So this kind of thing we never witnessed in our country, in India, because after any election we haven't faced anything. In India, basically we accept a political mandate of the people, and then every political party comes and says we are bound by the decision of the people. Election commissioners from different countries say, basically India is a golden example where elections of acceptance rate of election results by political party is enormous. With these kind of credentials, if election commission of India is made to go into internal process, basically if election commission of India goes into internal politics, basically it won't be beneficial to all. Basically it will become like another CBI where it will be used by political parties in order to win the elections. So we have to view this thing whether election commission of India has to monitor internal democracy. This should be monitored from totality, not from just political party. We have to monitor from separate angles. A lot of discussion has to happen, a lot of debates has to happen within the stipulated time in free and fair manner. Then only we can decide in this manner. That's what OP Rawat says. M.R. Madhavan M.R. Madhavan says he is not going to talk about Election Commission of India's reputation. Basically, Election Commission of India, it is highly reputed body and it has working with integrity. But he comes to idea of the political parties being regulated by Election Commission of India. Basically, he agrees OP Rawat saying that Election Commission of India should not get into political parties because if Election Commission of India becomes political, basically there will be a lot of pressure. They have to succumb to that pressure, and then our internal democratic, not only internal, external democratic process will be lost. Basically, you see a lot of Latin American countries, their democratic process is lost. Basically, those political gundas who are selling drugs, they come and influence the elections within the political party. So this is how it happens. So basically, M.R. Madhavan says political parties, they should regulate their internal democracy within. This should come with a lot of accountability, and even people has to accept. If people likes the particular political party, they have to elect them, they have to vote them. Otherwise, those political parties should learn from mandate given by the people. Then author goes again says, is there any existing legal ground in which elections can be mandated within political party? OP Rawat says there is no such thing, but Election Commission of India do registration of the political parties. The same thing has been told, and then Election Commission of India works within the principle enshrined in our Indian Constitution and bylaws also. Then another question asked, the most well-known example of Election Commission of India involving in lack of democracy, basically when YSRCP party, this is a local party from Andhra Pradesh, they made their Jagan Mohan Reddy as a permanent president of party. Then Election Commission of India intervened because of the democracy. Even they said this kind of process is inherently anti-democratic. Whether was this in their mandate, whether it is in Election Commission of India. Then OP Rawat says Election Commission of India does not do these kind of mandate, but when it comes to framework of the political party and registration rules, Election Commission of India basically monitors the compliance within the constitution and bylaws also. So now amending to this controversy democratic idea of periodic election, and the point at which the Election Commission of India took shelter, this will reject the move. Then M.R. Madhavan says whether it matters, basically let them do, Election Commission of India do the intervention. Party re-elects the same person over the years, almost 30 to 40 years, unopposed. He will become leader of the party, and then there is no democracy at all. This is what he says. Then author comes and asks another question. If a situation where we want or think Election Commission of India should regulate internal democracy in political parties, how such kind of law can be brought? If we want to do and if we want to bring, how it can be brought basically. M.R. Madhavan says there is no need for internal democracy within the party, then this kind of question shouldn't come. OP Rawat says, yes, I agree with M.R. Madhavan. Basically, these things should not come. People should decide. People have the sovereign power. They will decide the electorate, and then they will decide how democracy should function. Then author comes up, then asks another question. Why this question arises again and again? That Election Commission of India has made certain observation in many of the cases where parties have split. Then OP Rawat says, these kind of issues falls under political parties symbols, basically paragraph 15. Political party symbol order 1968 is there. Under that act, Election Commission of India goes by 4 kind of test. So when there is a split between these kind of thing, every faction has the political to follow the party constitution, whether they have the majority of the party organization, whether they have been given majority in the legislature wing, or whether they are proceeding with bylaws. So these kind of things will be discussed by Election Commission of India. All these kind of 4 tests they applied every time, starting from Sadiq Ali case. It always comes down to legislative majority because all other tests fail. The only test which is more friendly to summary inquiry is that number of legislature with splinter group basically. So whoever has the majority of the number of legislator with the splinter group, they get the party symbol. Basically, you might have seen in recent times in Maharashtra, Shiv Sena party split into two parts. One is Uddhav Thackeray faction, now present Prime Minister, sorry, Chief Minister faction. So Chief Minister faction, they own the political party just because they have the majority legislature. So these things happen. Then M.R. Madhavan says his answer is simple. These kind of things are not needed. So questions should not arise. Then M.R. Madhavan again comes up and says he wanted to add only one thing. Whether we are looking at citizens, whether we election commission of India, though it has high credibility, it has done with by keeping people as a centric process in the deciding whether political parties has a particular symbol. So there need to be a objective decision. That's what Mr. Rawat told. The decision should be taken objectively, then it should be followed within the constitutional limits. This is about how internal democracy within political parties can be mentioned. So this article we discussed in detail. We'll go to next article. Basically, India-Italy relations. Why Italy is very important for India? In recent days, you might have seen Italy and India relations and our democratic processes are growing day by day, and Italy matters very important to India. This article has been discussed in detail and in depth. Basically, there are several crises happening across the world. Italy and India, they share common interest, even joint challenges also. Basically, in the Indo-Mediterranean Sea. This region, Mediterranean Sea, this is very vital for global trade, especially Italy ranks 6th among the world largest exporters. It is very crucial for digital connectivity also. Blue Raman submarine data cable, basically this is fiber optic data cable. It connects from Genoa with Mumbai. They provide internal subsea cables and then it will connect the hub and then digital data entire world. There are several issues happening: piracy in the Red Sea, conflict in Gaza and Lebanon, effects of Russia's aggression against Ukraine on So these things have affected our agricultural oil trades. These require a joint efforts between Italy and India in order to ensure a free, open, prosperous Indo-Mediterranean. So it is very important. Italy, they stepped up in commitment to security and defense in Indian Ocean region and West Asia also. Apart from joining United Nations Convention on Law of Sea in 2021, Italy has been second largest contributor to European Union Naval Force in Atlanta, European Maritime Awareness in the Strait of Hormuz. Basically, these are straits in Red Sea. In February 2024, if you see, Italy, they have taken driving force in European Union military operation UNAFOR Apsides in order to safeguard freedom of navigation in the Red Sea, Indian Ocean and Gulf. That means maritime presence of Italy also growing. We have Sagar Initiative, security and growth for all in the region. So Italy also following similar kind of thing. If you see naval presence, we also increased our naval presence in India. We have joined Information Fusion Center of Indian Ocean region in 2023. Even a patrol ship ITS Francesco Moronzi, it visited Mumbai in August 2023. Italian carrier strike group, it is currently in Goa. We are expecting even tall ship ITS Amingo Vespucci in Mumbai from November 28 to December 2. These are the training vessels of the Italian Navy. We are also planning to build a Italy village that will offer cultural, fashion, even culinary events also for conferences, even exhibitions also. ITS Cavour, it is a short takeoff vertical landing ship. It is constructed by Italian Naval Shipyard Fincantieri, and ITS Cavour has been service of the Italian Navy since 2009. This dual-use vessel basically it can project maritime power, it can also provide a logistical autonomy, even serve environmental, humanitarian interventions also. Even we are delighted to that PASEX exercise. What is this PASEX exercise? This is a training exercise in order to develop and maintain mariner skills and strengthen interoperability. These exercises are being held during the stay when it happens in the Goa, ITS Cavour, Goa and Mumbai region. This ITS Cavour, it is also hosting workshop on defense industry cooperation. At the same time, this ITS Cavour, this serves hospitality to operate children with facial malformations. Indian and Italian doctors, they are performing surgeries under framework of Operation Smile, that is organized by Smile House Foundation, Italy. What is the defense ties between India and Italy? India and Italy, see, defense cooperation, it relies on defense agreement that has been signed in 2023 October. This document, this makes basis for further expansion of our defenses ties in many of the field, from research to industrial cooperation, maritime domain awareness, sharing of information, education and environmental issues related to military activities. At the same time, defense cooperation strongly relies on talks between Italy India military cooperation group meeting that was held in March, New Delhi. If you see defense production, Italy is very important to India. Two of our companies, Leonardo, Fincantieri, they are ranked among first 50 of CIPRI's top arms producing and military services company in the world. So other companies such as Beretta, Electronica, KNDS, though they are small in size, they possess outstanding technical know-how. Basically, they are operating in Italy soils. Over the last few years, Italy defense companies, they have shown to be joint ventures, co-production and joint development. Fincantieri, it is cooperating with Cochin Shipyard 2020, while this Electronica, they signed memorandum of understanding with Bharat Electronics Limited in 2019, BEL. This partnership, this approach is in line with India's Make in India ambitions. Even it can respond to growing requirements by Indian armed forces also. Italy also looks at India as a vulnerable partner in development of the Indian Ocean region from East Africa to Indian shores via this Arabian Sea. Both Italy and India, they are keen promoter in Africa in order to make international fora, and then they jointly supported an inclusion of African Union in G20. G20 meeting we have conducted in New Delhi. During this meeting, Africa has been formally inducted as a member of the G20. During this Italy Africa Summit in January, Italy launched a new initiative with Africa, basically the Mattei Plan. This is aimed at creating a beneficial partnership in order to realize several important projects across African continent. This initiative, this mobilizes Italian capabilities with 5.5 billion in public investment, even involvement of all public entities and even private sector also. Among the first countries chosen by this plan, Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Mozambique, they are very adjacent to Indo-Mediterranean area. This kind of ambition to engage with other partners, it will realize India's development with African country. Even India and Italy can cooperate in African development arena. Even Italy supported India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. There is a conflict in Gaza and escalating tensions in West Asia. Basically, author says this India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor, this can be part of long-term vision in order to ensure a prosperity in this region. Railway connections, ports, logistics, custom system, they can support peace endeavors along the trade route. That is very essential for India. Even it is as essential for Italy also. How we need to enhance people to people ties. Italy is very important to India as a friend. We host second largest Indian diaspora in the European Union. Italy is a reliable economic and defense partner, second largest manufacturing country in Europe, robust security provider taking up responsibilities as a member of European Union, even NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So what persists over time is basically people to people ties. These bond, they will go dig deep into ancient history of contacts between our two civilizations. Even it will find a new inspiration every story of cultural exchange, integration, and business success. This is the article about India and Italy relations. We will discuss next article about reviving up arms sales. Basically, Defense Research and Development Organization and India's Ministry of Defense declared we have made a lot of impact in exporting arms. So we will discuss this article in detail. This article has been taken from Business Standard. Ministry of Defense, they told in 23-24 we have made a record of 22,000 crores by selling our defense equipment. This shows there is a 31 times growth if you consider 2013-2014 period. So this export growth, they are not showing any diminishing either. It will grow in future also. If you see 2022-23 data, if you compare, our exports have increased 33% over a previous financial year. In the first quarter in 24-25, defense export, they increased by 6,915 crores. Don't focus on the numbers, just remember few things. Our defense export and defense sales are increasing. Last Monday, defense export, they have got another boost. Indian private defense manufacturer, who is that? Tata Advanced System Limited, TASL. They announced agreement with Morocco Royal Armed Forces in order to assemble armored troop carriers. Basically, they are four-wheeled armored platforms, WHAP 8x8. Basically, 8x8 wheels will be there. This is a new manufacturing unit in Casablanca in Morocco. This will be our first defense manufacturing plant established outside India by Indian Defense Original Equipment Manufacturer OEM and Morocco's first large-scale defense manufacturing plant. So you can understand. So basically from this article what you can understand is India is a developing country, but there are still low developing countries are there. So Indian equipment become a very important to these low developing countries. So we can sell them because these countries cannot afford a highly technological or field related defense equipment because they don't have such kind of money. So India can make those weapons and then they can supply. This could be a great example. If you see this WHAP size, protection, versatility and affordability, it is expected to present attractive buy for African militaries because they are combating insurgencies. Tata Advanced Systems Limited, this regards Morocco as a launch customer for cracking African arms bazaar. So we can go into Africa and then we can make wonders there. There will be a sharp growth in India's defense exports, not only from migration but with our valuation. So our product will be shown to entire world basically. Even decades ago, India's defense exports, they consisted of low cost ammunition and weaponry. If you see today, New Delhi, we are pursuing high value weaponry platforms. There is a Tejas light fighter aircraft, Pinaka multi barrel rocket launchers, even sophisticated BrahMos surface to surface cruise missile to East Asian customers, basically Southeast Asian countries, Vietnam, Malaysia and Philippines. Basically the sale of one BrahMos surface to surface cruise missile, this will cost 365 million. Basically this is same as the entire year defense export last decade ago. So you can understand how much defense exports we are creating, how we are budgeting these things. Even the need to boost defense export, this has come from simple mathematics. If you see Ministry of Defense, we have Defense Production Policy of 2018, DPROP, basically Defense Production Policy. The Defense Minister was Nirmala Sitharaman. She is now present Finance Minister. She proposed creation of employment for 20 to 30 lakhs worker by 2025 to achieve turnover of 1.7 trillion, basically $20 billion in defense and aerospace goods and services. This thing involved additional investment of almost 70,000 crore, basically 8.3 billion. But according to India's defense production policy, defense production increase from 43,000 crore to 55,000 crore in 2016 and 17. So this made defense production policy ambitious target in order to required for foreign buyers 35,000 crore worth of export. In order to reduce our current dependence on import, achieve self-reliance on developing manufacturing key weapon system and platforms by 2025. See, including these things: fighter aircraft, medium lift, attack and utility helicopter, warships, land combat vehicle, autonomous weapon system, missile system, gun system, small arms, ammunition. You can read all these things. In order to make these things, we need to make a lot of efforts actually. 7 years later, India remains one of the world largest defense buyer. Basically, we are importing 50% of the our defense needs. Even we are struggling to meet defense export targets. Achieving these target, it is not beyond the capability of Indian industry, but we need to follow certain kind of steps. We can achieve anything we want. Basically, what are all the 4 steps? The first step, Water says, see, there is an initial success that has been achieved in exporting defense platforms that have been designed, manufactured and serviced in India. These are just only preliminary measures. There is a very urgent need in order to introduce these platforms into service in our own military, where it will become mature and gradually demonstrate our defense equipment capability. When a new platform performs well or demonstrates unusually high capability, the media team, they should track the platform, record their achievement, ensure that it should be brought to notice of the prospective buyers. Only after building this kind of track record in the service of the home country, the weapon will be taken seriously by prospective buyers also. Second area, equipment or platform that is advanced stage of development are close to being introduced into service. This must be allowed to complete evaluation within realistic qualitative requirement. If you see Arjun tank or Tejas fighter, they are example of indigenous platform. They kept getting additional demand from user because we need to evaluate their condition. We need to understand their condition in depth. Defense Research and Development Organization, they kept modifying Arjun, but with no actual end to changes being demanded. Tank eventually collapsed under the weight of its own expectation. So Arjun cannot be commissioned because of the lot of expectation basically. So India's military, they learned important lessons. Perfect is often enemy of the good. Even our army, famous for putting our extreme qualitative results that demand more than one platform. The only results in development agencies such as Defense Research Development Organization or Directorate of Warship Design, this will make endless changes and improvements in order to make product modifying itself into extinction. Third lesson, what we need to understand, defense export, they are essentially commercial devices. They must serve the purpose of lowering the cost of production. Even it should reduce the cost of platform buyer and raising it for the seller. Government must treat this thing as a full court press. Basically, a basketball phrase. What is full court? It is a strategy when every member of the team, they are driving directly to opponent's hoop. Basically, because timing is running out, there is no place for fancy dribbling or footwork. So basically, what this is, they runs the ground full court press and then they throw into the basket. This kind of strategy should be followed by government. In arms sale also, this full court press, this would have soldiers, bureaucrats, diplomats, economists, technocrats, even media also. They should all be focused on winning order to lower cost. Fourth area and final lesson, there is a need for structured defense acquisition agency in order to maximize gains, minimize the delays. Major defense exporter, if you consider United States of America, they have the dedicated department. What is that? Office of Defense Cooperation. What they will do, they will oversee weapon sales and distribute responsibilities. This has resulted in munitions list in order to tighten the control. There are standard operating procedures that have been developed in order to export the controls. But other than small cell in Department of Defense Promotion, we have no other agency basically charged with all export related functions. These kind of department provide institutional expertise and deal with issues related to end user certification, even complex permission needed for in order to sell the aircraft, basically Tejas, even subsystems from various countries also. If you see, for example, there are permission that would be required to transfer airborne radar from Israel, or ejection seat from United Kingdom, or glass cockpit from France. The manufacturer of Russian engines, they comes with their own delays. The institution should handle all these procedures in order to make them as immediate priority. So this is the article about reviving arms sales in India, what kind of lessons to be followed. We discussed three articles today, good articles I would say. Thank you very much for discussion.